Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. We are back after a week off. And look, there's a lot going on in the sports world, particularly in basketball right now. We got a bunch of stuff to touch on. All right. We're going to touch on the Blue Jays. We're going to touch on some hockey news as well. But the big stuff going on right now is in the NBA. And when we want to talk about the hard court, there's a guy we like to turn to in particular, and it's our buddy Paul Jones, Raptors analyst. Jonesy, how you doing, brother? How's summer going?
I'm good, fellas. Good to be on with you. It's kind of I don't know if I would say dead period because there's still lots going on, but there's a bit of a lull right now in the NBA. Everybody's waiting on the Kawhi decision. LeBron has made his decision. The schedule will be released soon, so we're in a bit of a holding pattern, with the exception of, well, if you're a Raptor, Clipper fan, or heck, even an NBA fan. To see what they decide with the whole Kawhi Leonard fiasco with what's happening with the.
It is a fiasco. Like, how has this not been solved yet? Like, I don't understand how an investigation can take this long.
I'm sure they're probably discovering things, Clarkey, that even they didn't know about. When I was in Vegas and I talked to people, they thought it was going to wrap up by the end of the month. And some people, giving me a few little crumbs on what they thought was happening or what might happen. And all of that has been put on hold. So it's kind of disturbing, but on the other hand, you want to do this thing properly. You don't want to adjudicate and come to a decision and then find out that there was key evidence or key information that either slipped through the cracks or wasn't considered. So I can see them taking the time. Listen, schedule will be released. We still have, we're just at the beginning of August. You still have 10 weeks till the season starts, but let's hope they can get it done. There was a report yesterday saying that it could bleed into 2027. You don't want that. Get it done so teams can fix the trade, finish the trade, and get on without the what ifs in the schedule.
Yeah, that's the big thing here, Jonesy. Like, that has people concerned. Like, that just came out that, like, the investigation could bleed into 2027. And, like, for Raptors fans and the Raptors front office, the Clippers front office, like, we're all sitting here in this holding pattern going like, okay, so what happens if it does bleed into 2027? They let the trade go through thinking, okay, maybe nothing's going to come of it. We want Kawhi here. He clearly wants out of LA. It happens. Then all of a sudden they find some damning smoking gun. Because what's really at issue here is whether the NBA can determine or not if Kawhi made these demands upon the Clippers and then the Clippers agreed to do it with this shady tree company money. That's really what's at issue here. So, that could be a real nightmare. Like, as Clarkey said, it kind of already is one. But if it bleeds into next year and we're in March or something and the NBA finds some smoking gun, an email from Kawhi going, you better do this or whatever, and they suspend him or something for a year with playoffs around the corner, that could be an absolute nightmare, Paul.
Yeah, it could be. It could be really, really difficult. I'll say this. From what I know of Kawhi Leonard, I would have a really hard time seeing him personally make those kinds of demands. Never say never, but the guy that I know, I don't think he just wants to play ball. Like, that's his thing. Sign the contract, pay me my money. I'm going to give you everything I have. And I'll say this, on the optimistic side, if you're a Raptor fan, if this thing bleeds into the first week of January in 2027 and Kawhi's missed 25 games, well, then you don't have to worry about load management because he's got the next 55 in the playoffs. And I say it with, in all seriousness, although I laugh my way through this, in the championship year, the Raptors had two teams. They had one team with Kawhi that won 41 or 42 games of the 60 that he played. And then they had another team that went 17-5 without him. He played 60 games in the regular season. He played all 24 in the playoffs. He played 84 out of 106 games that year. So missing the first 20 or so would not necessarily be a bad thing if you could keep him in shape and get him up to game speed, if you guys are following what I'm saying. But listen, you want to have him around the team. You want to build that chemistry, that cohesion. And even if he's taking games off in the middle or injuries hit, suffer it not, or far be it from that happening, you want the guy around the team. You don't want any kind of suspension keeping him away from the team or away from the facility where he can work out and develop some chemistry and camaraderie with his teammates.
Two-part question for you. Do you see the Raptors making the trade without a decision from the NBA? And B, what is that sweet spot of suspension if he does get a suspension? If they suspend him for a year, I'm assuming the Raptors would not make the trade. But what about half the season?
Well, to your first question, Chris, Clarkey, I think both teams have said we're going through with this trade. So that, I mean, if you look at Kawhi Leonard, he's coming back to a place where he won. And I know people will say he won in San Antonio, but he had this guy named Tim Duncan, this other dude named Tony Parker, and another cat named Manu Ginobili. Like, I wouldn't say he was a passenger, but he didn't have to drive the bus all the time. In Toronto, he drove the bus and he took the tickets. Like, we're talking legacy. And he's coming back to a team with a medical staff that knows his wants, his needs. They get along obviously well. So it's not a bad thing. It's a good spot for him to come back to. So I think that trade gets made anyway. A year suspension would be difficult. I mean, I would take, 15 games, whatever it is. I would take that if you're the Raptors, 20 games. And like I said, those would be kind of the load management games. And move forward from there. I mean, that's my thinking. I haven't talked to anybody about it, but it's a long season. And Kawhi himself said it when he was in Toronto. Hey, man, it's all practice till we get to April, right? It's all
practice
till you start dealing cards for the real money in April.
Well, I have to ask you, Jonesy, and I think that this is something that Raptors fans and maybe even Bobby Webster in the front office are wondering in the back of their minds. Let's go nuclear here and assume that something comes up and maybe this trade doesn't go through and this all falls apart. Where do the Raptors go from there? Because you would think that there's no way that they can bring Brandon Ingram back into the fold after this whole fiasco, right? If we hit worst case scenario here, where do the Raptors go from there?
Well, I mean, listen, it's been done before. They traded Alvin Williams for Danny Fortson. He went to Boston, had his physical. He, quote, failed his physical. Then he comes back to Toronto. They change the coach the next year, and the guy becomes one of the most beloved Raptors and one of the, the great Raptor point guards and tough players of all time. So can they go back? Yeah, it might be difficult, but, you can always go back. I don't know if you find another trade partner because there are some draft picks involved. And I mean, it is an interesting scenario if, as you said, Drew, that they hit the nuclear button and the trade is off. You've got some fences to make. You've got some massaging to do. I mean, we've seen it before where guys have been traded and they've come back and it hasn't been all peaches and cream early on. But listen, they're big boys. Everybody understands the business side of this game, and you know, you get your love the 1st and the 15th of every month, and you keep playing.
Let's assume the deal goes through. How good is this Raptor team? Are they instant contenders with Kawhi? And does he have any friends he can bring with him?
Well, let me put it this way, Chris. I read an article in The Athletic that had Toronto at 6 in the East, and they had New York, the defending champs, Philly, Boston, Detroit, and I forget who the 5th team was in front of them. Oh, Miami. Well, the East is really jammed up. If Halliburton comes back healthy, Indiana's going to be good. Remember, they were in the finals 2 years ago. Is Boston, if the trade goes through, is Boston really better than Toronto? Okay, yeah, they've got Tatum. They've got, I'm not disputing New York and Philly, but they've got Tatum, Derek White. Like, I think of Scotty Barnes and Kawhi Leonard. That's a pretty formidable duo. Like, Miami's got Giannis, but they've got some other guys around them. I don't think Toronto is worse than those teams. I would make an argument that you could, without a stretch, possibly place Toronto at 3. They took Cleveland last year to 7 games without Quickly, without Ingram, and Cleveland made it to the conference finals. And, by the way, was leading New York by 22 points in the 4th quarter before the roof fell in on them. This is a good Raptor team with Kawhi Leonard. So, you know, I say this to all my American colleagues, and Clarkey, you and I used to talk about this way back in the Stone Age in 2000. How many people sit down and watch a Toronto Raptor basketball game tip to buzzer?
I don't.
No.
But especially in the South.
And I would say most of my colleagues in the U.S. don't.
Right.
So.
No, for sure.
So, you know, they see, oh yeah, Raptors made a trade with Kawhi. Yeah, they could be okay based on Kawhi, not based on Scotty Barnes, who's an all defensive player, would have been all NBA.
Yeah. Not
based on Murray Boyles, who is a young up and coming quick learner, a guy that when they drafted him, people said, who? RJ Barrett, Jamal Shed. Like, you can put a really strong defensive team on the floor and guys that can figure it out with Kawhi Leonard or Scotty Barnes handling the ball offensively. So to answer your question, the short form answer, Chris, yes, they are a contender in the East because I think the East is wide open. Even Philly with LeBron, it's going to take them some time to put it all together, the same way they did in Miami. They were, before the big 3 in Miami made it to 4 straight finals. They started their first year at 8-8, like 15, 16 games. They were at 500. It takes time. And some of these other teams have already been put together. I would argue that Detroit really, even though people might put them in front of Toronto, they haven't done a lot to improve, and they're still fighting with Jalen Duren over signing a contract. So I to answer your question, Chris, yes, they are a contender, and it only takes one team to come out of the East and win this thing.
You're absolutely right. And you alluded to it, and it was, the decision part 2, if you will. And LeBron, he's landed in Philly. We know that he's going to be a 76er, going to go and hook up with our old buddy Nick Nurse. And when you heard this news, what was your reaction to this, Jones? Because, I mean, look, like his legacy's well established. He clearly wants to try and win another championship. I don't know if this organization is the place that he's going to be able to do it, simply because A, what you just mentioned with that bunched up East, and B, even though they're adding LeBron, he's still got plenty of game. That organization and the players on it have an awful lot to prove. Like, they have severely underwhelmed with that core before LeBron arrived. What was your take on him landing in Philly, and what's he going to do for that organization potentially?
He makes them better. He's a guy that he'll have his hands on the ball. And and the other guys that are really good players, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, they will defer to him. If they have a healthy Joel Embiid, they're going to be difficult to beat. And look, Nick Nurse did it last year. He did it in Toronto, as I said earlier. He created 2 teams, one with Kawhi, one without. He did it last year in Philly, one with Embiid, one without. They won a first-round series before losing to the Knicks. He'll do the same this year, one with LeBron and Embiid, and one without them in the event that those guys are injured or they're managing their games and when they're playing and when they're not. So, I mean, listen, people are like, oh, he's ring chasing. No, he's not. I call that trying to win. And he's in a place where, with Jaylen Brown now, they're in Philly. They got a real shot to come out of the East.
If and this is the argument that rages on and on, like he's the all-time leading scorer now. He's won plenty of titles. He's got 5 now under his belt. Had that 9-year stretch where he went to the finals every year. And the debate rages on him or Michael. If he were able to win a title in Philly,
no,
for you would no. I like that's just why we love Josie.
I feel like
no.
Jeopardy buzzing in before the question.
Why not? Why not? If he won a title in Philly, why would he not elevate over Michael for you?
Well, first of all, just there are things that I can't put my finger on watching both of them play. Like I can't put numbers to equate. Michael was he was the ultimate bus driver for Chicago. He didn't play with nearly as many Hall of Famers or All-Stars as LeBron did. He didn't go to another team when it got difficult. I mean, I'm not even going to go into all the other stuff with the scoring titles and the all defensive awards and the MVPs and, his average. I saw it on social media the other day, and if I find it, I'll repost it. The numbers were like 44, 42, 38, 36, 24, 36, 32, 30. And then at the end, it said, these are all Jordan's games in the finals. Like, LeBron did have some clunkers. He did have some scoreless fourth quarters in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, when the money was on the line and you had to win a game, there's nobody I'd take more so than Michael Jordan. So, I mean, I know I sound like an old guy shaking my fist.
No, you don't. You don't.
I mean, LeBron's great, but
yes,
he had much help in winning those titles, and you need help and you need luck. But Michael helped himself more than I think the others helped him. Scottie was a great player, but people act like Jordan couldn't win without Scottie. If you're asking me,
that's not true.
That's
just not true.
And the competition that he had to go through to get to those.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Bird, McHale, Parrish, Dennis Johnson. He beat Isaiah and the Bad Boys. He beat Magic and the Lakers. Like he was worthy of all of those. And I'm not saying LeBron wasn't. By the way, it's 3.5. Because that title in the bubble doesn't.
I understand. Yes.
I'm not saying it's unworthy, but there were just different circumstances, and be it right or wrong, I don't measure it the same way as I do the others. No travel, no hostile crowds, sterile environment.
No, you're bang on, Jonesy.
Like a giant AAU tournament where you go to the same gym every day. And maybe people will fight me on that, but that's just my feeling.
I'm not going to fight you on it. I completely agree. Clarkey, go ahead.
I was just going to ask. I'm just changing topics if I can. How's this summer been? Are you traveling? What have you been up to?
Little time in Las Vegas, Clark, NBA Summer League, and some meetings around Canada basketball. Look at your watch, man. 2 years from now, we're trying to get on top of the podium for a gold in basketball in LA. did a couple games for TSN in the World Cup next year, 2027 qualifying window against Jamaica and Puerto Rico. And there are 2 more upcoming games at the end of August, Argentina, and I believe Panama or the Dominican Republic. I've got to double check, but we're finding our way towards the World Cup next year at this time. So that's occupying my time. And of course, trying to hit my golf ball straight.
And how's that working out?
People ask me, Jonesy, how'd you hit it? My answer is a lot.
Well, you're getting a lot of practice, right? Getting your money's worth out there. We gotta go golfing this summer.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's figure it out.
And you're an all-around sports guy. I gotta ask you, because Ryan and I are gonna get into this. What is going on with Vladdy?
Clarkey, I don't know. I'm not close to the team. I don't know, but we all know sports, and there's that year that it's magical, and then the next year it's kind of like golf. You hit a couple, and the next 2 shots look like you don't know how to hold a club. I mean, it's just everybody thinks it's linear. Oh, they were that close. Next year they're going to win it. It doesn't work like that. It's difficult, and I would say by watching him too, he doesn't show as that kind of guy, but we all know the psychology around sports too. They always say in baseball, the slump starts in your bat and gets in your head. And so, I mean, listen, he's still the guy that I want up at the plate with 2 on, 2 out, trailing by 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. He's still the guy I want at the dish. And it just hasn't worked this year. There's still maybe a push coming in August and September, and let's see how it finishes up.
Yeah, it's we'll dig into that next year. Yeah, it's confusing stuff. But one thing we're never confused about is the expert analysis that our buddy Jonesy gives us on the hard court. Buddy, enjoy the rest of your summer. It's already been very busy. Let's see if we can get that golf ball flying a little straighter here. We'll see what happens. If we go out, I'll go on the bag for you and I'll help straighten you out.
Probably like a 4 handicap. He's probably
he probably is.
It's a double-digit, Clarkey, and maybe some of that fine Bruce County air to straighten my golf ball out.
There you go.
Never know.
I got a place we're going to play. Okay, if you're willing to come out this way.
There's 2 things I will travel for. One of them is golf.
Okay. I'm going to make this happen.
Okay.
And the other one, of course, is Clarkey's great company. So, all right. Jonesy, we really appreciate this, man. Have a great rest of your summer. We're excited for ball, man.
I appreciate you guys having me. Let's do it again before the season cranks up.
We absolutely will, my friend. Thanks for doing this, Jonesy.
Pleasure.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Jones, Raptors radio analyst. You can hear him on the Raptors broadcast all year long.
So I've fallen in love with a golf course out here called Fire Rock, and
I'm aware that you're very in love with this
I want to
course,
bring
yes.
Jonesy to Fire Rock. So
that would be a lot
beautiful
of fun,
course.
man.
He'd love it.
Absolutely.
In
all right.
Kamoka.
Hey, good area, man. My brother's nearby. Maybe we drag him out and he can be the other caddy.
I didn't invite you, Drury.
Well, so who's going to caddy for you? Come on here.
If you're caddying, okay, that's fine.
I'll caddy. Obviously, I'll caddy. I can't.
Okay.
That's good. I'll caddy for you and I'll give you some words of encouragement.
Okay, that'll work out well. Yeah.
Speaking of encouragement, somebody who could really use it is Vladdy Jr. And man, oh man. Okay, we're recording this Thursday, July 30th. We're a few days away. We're 4 days away, basically, exactly from right now to the trade deadline. It's a 6 p.m. on August 3rd. I don't know what the Jays are going to do. I have a feeling, an opinion on some of the things they probably should do. I think they should be soft sellers and try and maximize some of the assets they have and turn it into controllable players to try and get this thing back on the rails next year. Because as we record this, they're 5 games back of that 3rd wildcard spot. I don't see it happening. They're too inconsistent. I think they got to trade, unfortunately, Kevin Gausman. They got to try and trade Bieber, even though he was... I don't know what was up with him the other night, Clarkey, against the Nationals, the number 1 offense in the league. And you can't 6 walks in the first, like it was unconscionable what we were seeing.
He looked like Justin Bieber.
It was crazy, dude. It was really, really crazy. So I don't know what they get out of him, what they can get out of Springer.
I don't know why,
future
Drury.
considerations. Like,
I don't know why. I think
What's
they're
that?
going to turn things around.
Oh God, this guy.
I think they're going to squeak in, and maybe it's the Leaf fan in me.
You've done a real heel turn. Well, but if you're going by that logic, you should be pessimistic as anybody.
But I'm optimistic about the Leafs every year. As you know, I'm thinking it's their year. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know why. I just think they're going to go on a heater. Maybe not a Boston, a Red Sox quite type heater, but they're going to go on a heater.
They need one.
They're playing a couple of National League teams coming up here. They got to get going. And I just think it's in them. I think I hate to say last year was the anomaly compared to the 24. I guess that would have been 24, and this year or 25. No, 24.
Yeah, 24.
Yeah, where they sucked, and this year the numbers are pretty even. 24 versus 26.
They have the worst offense in baseball.
Right. So they got to get it going. I don't want them to sell the farm. I don't want them to trade Gausman. I don't want.
Well, they don't have a farm to sell. To be
no, I don't mean that. I just mean I don't want them to give up.
I know what you mean.
Right. Well, I don't want them to give up.
But the thing with Gausman is I think you got to try and maximize that asset here, because if you savage your guy of the future, it's his last year. Like, his contract is up. He'll be a 36-year-old pitcher, and we know how that story goes. And let's be honest here. He could end up being a guy that gets into his late 30s, early 40s that can still be effective because he doesn't rely hard on velo.
Yeah.
He relies a lot on that splitter fastball split.
Yeah.
If that thing's still dancing, he can get guys to swing and whiff at it. He had, I believe, the second highest whiff rate on any pitch in MLB last year on that splitter. He was dominating guys with it. So I understand your thing there, but I just think that they got to try and trade him and re-sign him in the offseason if you think so highly of him and you think you can squeeze more out of him.
I get that.
Plausible.
That hardly ever happens, but it does happen. And in baseball, I'm just not convinced in baseball you make trades at the deadline that do anything for your team long term. I've never, I might be wrong. I might be totally wrong, but it just doesn't seem like that happens when you're trading an aging asset. You don't get anything back ever.
And it's hard to, because the money that's attached to some of these guys.
Exactly.
Springer, I don't know what realistically you could expect to get. Like, what are you going to ask for a team's 25th best prospect, if anyone's even willing to give that? That's a lot of money, and the Jays could eat it and squeeze a little more out of the deal, maybe. But I mean, that's a $25 million guy who's 37 and looks every bit of it. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. But ultimately, no matter what they do this year and what the next few years look like, it's not going to be very good if the guy that signed a $500 million deal does not squeak out. Clarkey, I saw a stat the other day that has blown my face off.
I
was unaware of this.
We must be talking about this.
Share yours first.
Well,
is it the homers at home?
Yes, 0.
Vladimir
I did not know that.
Has 6 home runs on the year.
Did we confirm this?
It is true. Confirmed by our boy Keegan Matheson, MLB.com, Jays report. Everybody.
Unbelievable.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has not hit a home run at home this year. He's one of 3 batters in the league this year that have at least 200 plate appearances that do not hit home runs at home and have not. One of them is Luis Arias. The other one is escaping me. And Arias is not a guy that you rely on to hit home runs. He's a guy that gets on base and hits 300 every year and has a good OBP and all that stuff. He doesn't make $500 million. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. does. I want to bring this up. You want to be sick to your stomach? How about this? This was the FanGraph projection for Vladdy for this season. They projected that he was going to hit 295 with 34 ding-dongs, 105 ribs, 98 runs, and a 903 OPS.
What's he at?
This guy has a sub 700 OPS with 6 homers, none of which have left the yard at the Dome. It's unconscionable what this guy's doing. And listen, he came out the other day and was asking for patience and for people to let him get it on track. And like, Vlad, you can't do that. Please add something.
Well, and you're going to roll your eyes, but now we have a translator again. Vlad's in a slump and he can't speak English.
I'm
sorry. You've been doing it for 2 years now.
I'm not rolling
Why
my eyes.
now do you need a translator again? I'm sorry. I know it's petty, but come on. Talk to the fans. Let's hear it.
I agree, because last year when he had an OPS that was 1 billion and he was destroying the Yankees for the Yankee lose and all, we're having fun. And I stand by this, Clarkey. You remember me saying this into the World Series with the Dodgers with our friend Rob Longley. Mm-hmm. I think that he put forth the greatest postseason of any Toronto athlete ever on an individual level.
Yeah.
The praise was there and it was deserved.
Absolutely.
So for him to flip around and enter year one, not year 7, not year 11, year 1 of a 14-year, $500 million Brinks truck and do this is unconscionably bad. And I got to ask you, like, I can't even think of something comparable to this. Like, is he setting a new bar for athlete fall-offs in their prime? What else can you even compare this to? He's not 35. He's not 33. He's 27 years old. This can't happen.
It is happening. There's still time left. He could still get on a heater. He could hit 15 home runs from now to the end of the year. Hey,
I'll bet you money right now. I'll bet you $100 he doesn't get to 15.
What's your over under? Like, give me something reasonable.
11.5. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
I'd take the over.
6.
Let's
take the over on
do
11.5?
Little gentleman's bet. I'll take the over. Write that down.
Take the under.
And
11.5.
We'll take a look. I think he's gonna. I'm telling you, I just think for whatever reason this team's gonna turn things around and he's gonna lead the way.
God bless you. Well,
I could be. Well, obviously, I could terribly be wrong.
Of course, he could be wrong, but you shouldn't be. And you know what? As much as I'm teasing you, being like, "Oh, Toronto guy," I understand your optimism, because the frustrating thing and why this is so unconscionable and why this is garnering a reaction like this out of people like me is because we saw what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm. No kidding.
2 minutes ago,
Didn't he hit like 11 homers in the playoffs?
I said greatest postseason by a Toronto athlete ever.
Yeah.
That's a real thing that occurred. We didn't make that up.
No.
That he had like a 1290 OPS. That happened. We watched it in the highest pressure situations. And yes, they came up short. But to turn around and no one in their wildest nightmares, not even dreams, no one in their wildest 3:30 in the morning nightmares would ever wake up and think you know what? Vladdy Jr. will have 6 home runs on July 30th and none of them will have been at home.
Craziness.
That's a script that's a horror movie that hasn't been written.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand it. It's absolutely crazy.
Like I wonder what he's gone through when it comes to just little things, adjustments, hands, bat. Has he changed his bat? Has he changed? Like, I'd love to know that stuff. I'd love Keegan Matheson or one of those reporters. Maybe Rob Longley can ask him.
And we'll get Longley on here.
Have you done anything? And
I'm sure
is it time to go back? I don't know.
Like,
I'm
David Popkins, I'm sure
he was
show up every day.
Last year, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was the guy giving all the praise.
And now there's some guys, to be fair, because people are like, oh, well, it's Popkins. There's some guys on this team that are hitting the ball really well. Ernie Clement is still hitting the ball real well.
Sure.
Kazuma Okamoto just broke the rookie home run record for the team.
Well, and he's also
in his first year in North America.
Yeah.
The rest of his hitting stats are not
Ohtani's record.
But yes.
Like, that's pretty impressive if he could only pitch.
Yeah, and maybe he will still. I mean, it won't matter because Peter Armstrong's going to be the MVP. But
no, I meant if Okamoto could ever pitch.
Oh, if Okamoto could pitch? Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, it's crazy to me. I'm racking my brain trying to think and I'm sure there's an example that someone can come up with, but like a guy at 27 that had a postseason like that. And like, remember last year, like we're begging for last year. Cause remember in the regular season last year, people were going, Vladdy needs a new deal and he's only got 12 home runs or whatever. And he ended up with, I believe, 23. And people were like, boy, that's a real down year. He better show up in the playoffs. And then he did. Geez, we'd be starving for him to have like 17, 18 right now and finish with 23.
Yeah.
No doubt. My God. Like we thought we had it bad last year heading into the postseason. And then he took off like a rocket ship like no one's ever seen. And the
dog days of August are upon us. And I think it's going to be Vladdy days in August.
So I hope you're right. I want to ask you this too, because there's a lot of chatter going around right now. And I heard the guys on Overdrive talking to Richard Griffin and all the baseball insiders, and Keegan's on there. And there's a lot of rumblings right now about the trade deadline and how owners are kind of telling their front offices, like, either go in and do everything you can, or maybe don't add too much payroll on the other side of the coin, because the owners are anticipating not playing any games next year, which just makes me utterly sick to my stomach. Do you think that this league can survive a full season lockout? I don't know if they can, man. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever.
Other leagues have.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, that's the problem, right? I just think they think they'll come back. Fans will come back. They always do, no matter what. They always do, and it's holding us fans hostages. And
they want a salary cap, which is pretty clear.
Yeah,
I just wish that they would just put a minimum in. Because
it's funny, and then but yes, I agree, they should. And I think it's ruined hockey having this cap. It's just it's constrained trades. It hurts the game.
You can argue. You can. There's arguments for both sides. Like I'm fine with having like a luxury tax system.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
I'm fine with that.
Yes,
but if you're going to continue along that way, there's got to be a floor. Like like 120 million, or even just 100. Maybe I'm reaching too far to the moon there. Let me grab a star instead.
Yeah,
100 million.
Can you
and
imagine?
like, you sit there and go, 100 million for every team as a spending floor. Look at the net worth of these owners and these clubs. And these clubs that are benefiting from the revenue sharing, the A's, the Guardians, the Pirates, like, they're pocketing like 150 million a year in pure profit from revenue sharing.
It's just sad, because
all the money you get from the revenue sharing, I think in the very least, there should be a stipulation that you have to spend at least 60% of it on the roster. So the money that you're all hoarding from the Red Sox and the Cubs and the whatever, at least 60% of those dollars that go to you need to be immediately invested on the field. And for a team like Pittsburgh, that means keeping a guy like Paul Skeens. It means keeping a guy like Connor Griffin beyond the crazy contract that he got at 19. It means keeping those guys, and Chandler Jones and Spencer. Like, I just don't understand how a sport like this, America's pastime, is so obsessed at the ownership level at biting the hand that feeds.
Well, not only that, you're right. You're right about that. And at the end of the day, all this money, all this revenue, $100 million players, whatever, Vladdy and his $300 million, it's all coming from fans. It's all coming from people, not even just fans. It's coming from consumers, right? The fans pay the tickets. The ticket prices go up. And then advertisers, and a lot of people, friends of mine say, no, they get a ton of advertising money. Yeah, guess what?
Loads of advertising.
But guess what? Guess how the advertisers are getting the money? By upping prices of everything. And guess who has to pay the higher prices? Consumers. Again, us, you and I. And it's a never-ending story. And I honestly think, Drury, that sports is driving pricing sky high right now because of the stupid money that athletes get.
We're hitting, I think, if we're not there yet, we're pretty close.
Dude,
we're at a nadir here of like,
we have an $18.5 million hockey player.
Yes. 18.8 million. Macklin Celebrini. Yes. Leo Carlson, 18.
18.8 a year.
Look, and this, what you're bringing up here is going to filter into our next conversation that we didn't get to have last week when it was a little more pertinent, but people are still talking about it. We'll get that in a second.
Oh,
I agree. I agree with you though. I don't think we're less than 10 years away from the first $1 billion contract.
Wow.
And I don't know who that'll be. I assume an NFL quarterback. But maybe a soccer player. I'm not sure. But Shohei Ohtani is inarguably the best baseball player in the world, and he signed for $700.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
We're probably a decade away from the next guy like that. I'm not saying like Shohei, but the next big, I'm the big dog on the block in this league guy from signing a 12-year $1 billion contract. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know how much more fans and consumers can strain against capitulating and propping up stuff like that. I really don't know where the line is, but I feel like we're going to cross it soon. It's
look what happened with the NHL contract and Rogers. Is it a coincidence all of a sudden, just days after, a whole bunch of radio stations shut down?
No.
That's not a coincidence.
No.
A lot of people losing their jobs. It's not a coincidence.
And
as I said,
on
sports is really a driver right now of so many things in everyone's life. Even if you're not a fan, it's affecting you. The price of sports.
You're bang on, brother. You're
and
right,
if anyone wants to give us a little money for this show,
if anybody would like to,
we'll take it.
I'll even come around on brands I don't like.
Exactly.
Tim Hortons, would you like to? I'm just kidding. I do want to say quickly before we switch topics, because you bring up, the broad. I think what the Columbus Blue Jackets have done to Bob McElligott is unconscionably sick. If you're unfamiliar with it, the Blue Jackets announced that they're going to allow fans, their words, not mine, to experience a more cohesive broadcast where they're going to simulcast Mearsy on the TV play-by-play, and that's what's going to play on the radio.
Never works.
It's a joke. If you've never broadcast before, calling on the radio and calling on TV, I've done both for a long time.
Yeah.
Completely different.
100% is different. And I hear people saying, oh, these guys call a game like it's on radio. No, they don't. And they're going to be referring to replays on the screen. And they're going to say, see right there? And the people in their cars are like, I don't see nothing. What are you talking 100%. About? It's terrible that it's happened. But once again, it's the almighty dollar, right?
Yeah.
We'll pay all these players hundreds of millions of dollars, but we can't pay an announcer $70,000.
If that
to broadcast a game.
That's the thing too, right? Like the Bob did such a great job of he did that daily mailbag with Jackets fans. Talk about a guy working out overtime to keep a fan base that has been abused by that franchise. That franchise sucks. The Columbus Blue Jackets suck. They have no actual history to stand on to be proud of, but the fans show up. I've been down there. My cousin was the assistant coach.
He was.
Okay. The fans show up. They want to like the Blue Jackets, but the team, because they're run so poorly for the majority of their time on this planet, I should probably switch our background to hockey, eh?
Sure.
It's been run so poorly, but they still show up hoping maybe someday the Blue Jackets will be good. But hey, at least we got guys like Bob McElligott who go on the radio and make us feel connected to the team and engage the fans that the team doesn't want to do. Bob does it. We can't pay him.
Yeah.
But we'll give Adam Fantilli whatever he's going to get, 15 or whatever. I'm a broadcaster. I love doing play-by-play. The Guelph Storm treat me unbelievable. None of us, we get into play-by-play, and I'm sure Bonesy would say this, and Jonesy, who we just had on, would say, we get into it because we love the game, we're passionate about the game, and we want to provide that connection between fans and the team. Like us or don't like us, I like this guy's call better, whatever. There's something for everybody, but we aren't out there asking for millions of dollars.
No.
We just want to be treated with respect and be allowed to do the job. And connect with the fans. That's it.
And exciting. I just
Okay?
want to point out to the people listening to us on a podcast, when Ryan said we're changing the background, we went from a baseball background to a hockey background.
Yes, thank you for radioing me there.
Yes,
That's
no
good.
problem.
I like that.
No problem.
I like that. I
Yes.
like that.
And you can watch
Now-
us on YouTube if you are
Yes,
listening to us. You can
watch
also
us.
watch us on YouTube. And Roger.
So, yes. So I want to switch gears here to your
we
buddy
have
and
to?
mine, Darren Ferris,
Uh-huh.
who recently, I don't know how you haven't heard about this by now, but if you're living under a rock, Darren Ferris, Mitch Marner's agent, went on the Puckpedia podcast and went on this big tirade about how, it's unfortunate how it worked out with Mitch in Toronto, and the team, they just didn't do enough to protect him. I have a quote here. Our viewers can see it. I'll read it to the listeners here. Okay.
Yeah.
As time went on, this is Darren Ferris's words, he became, Mitch Marner, the focus of everything, scrutinized for every game, him and his family criticized for every loss, receiving threats on social media, which was disturbing. You got to remember, Mitch was carjacked in Toronto. Every time he came up short, he was the only one singled out. He was never protected by his organization. That's the gist of what Darren Ferris said on this podcast. Some of the most embarrassing takes by a player agent I've ever heard in my life. Like this guy, and he works for Mitch. So these are sentiments that he feels, obviously. And I just don't understand where you can possibly have such a actual disconnect from reality, because if Mitch and his family think that he's the only guy that caught any criticism for those baffling defeats and shortcomings in the playoffs, they are out of their mind. I'd love to refer you to some old episodes of this show where everybody wanted to chase William Nylander out of town. Okay, so I don't understand. There were lots of people. I've said on this show 100,000 times, I don't think that the Leafs ever should have signed John Tavares, but they did. I never said that about Mitch. And this is all to say, I need your thoughts on this, Clark, because I know you're Mitch's guy. You love Mitch. Right?
I do.
What
I
did
just
you
think
think
Darren
of this?
Ferris is out of touch with reality is the first thing.
Dude.
And when you said he works for Mitch, these are Mitch's words. There's no doubt that's how Mitch feels.
Yes.
And to say he wasn't protected enough in Toronto and bringing up a random carjacking, he was not targeted. It wasn't like there's Mitch Marner. Let's go. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody.
Was a wild comment to bring up.
It was awful.
He was tying it to he wasn't protected by the organization. To bring up the carjacking in the same sentence is diabolically stupid.
Yes.
And tone deaf.
Yes. And
What
it just goes to
earth?
prove that Mitch and his family still believe they were wronged in Toronto getting his $10 million
Schedule B bonus, and we did.
Yeah,
he looks like he's having fun here in this picture.
Cry me a river. Really, cry me a river. Quit crying, bro.
Well, this isn't junior, bro. That's what this boils down to, and I referenced it when we were talking about basketball and salaries and everything. That's how it ties to this conversation. Mm-hmm. When you would know this better than me, you're a diehard Leaf fan, you've got it etched into your skin, literally. When you are a fan of a team like this, and all you want is for the team to win, and they consistently come up short and they make excuses, and you want to talk about protection, half the time these guys wouldn't even come out after a tough loss and speak. Okay. They were awful choosy about when they had to come out and address the fans that pay the highest rate in the league to even see this. So when you come out and you're complaining 11 years later about not getting Schedule B bonuses, look, I understand that the other side of the argument that people would levy at me would be, well, how would you feel in your job if so-and-so got a bonus and you didn't? Well, look, I would probably feel shortchanged, Clarkey, but I don't make $10.93 million. Okay. So
nor were you the number one pick overall.
No. Or scored 60 goals twice. Very good player, but you're not that guy. You got paid more than Nikita Kucherov. You did every commercial that you possibly could. Intact Insurance gave you a boatload and every other commercial. Okay. you were very well compensated for your services. And where that argument, where someone would say to me, well, how would you feel at your job? It falls flat when you're talking about a guy paid to play a game where most of the fans that are upset with the performance that you put forth in games 5, 6, and 7, which, by the way, historically with the Leafs, 0 goals, 7 assists in all those 5, 6, and 7s over the years. Okay.
0.
The argument falls flat when you make almost $11 million, and most of the people that are supporting the team can't even afford to get in the building to watch you. So for you to come out and say, oh, well, we're still upset about the Schedule Bs and they promised us no one would get it, and then a year later a guy got it. Dude, are you kidding? Mm-hmm. You make $11 million.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that to people in Toronto, most of whom can't even afford to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Dude,
I was floored by that, man.
I'm pretty sure really before this happened, he was my number one hated former Toronto player, not hockey player.
Mitch Marner.
Mitch Marner. Yeah. And now with this Darren Ferris latest fiasco, it solidifies it. Like, this guy, he by far is my most hated Toronto athlete of all time. Bar none. I'm sorry. He is. I don't care what he did.
I understand.
Well, at the end of the day, he didn't do anything. He didn't win anything. That's all I care about is winning. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it in Vegas either in the last 2 games. Yeah, he got them to the final. And he could have won the Conn Smythe. But guess what? He disappeared again in the final couple of games and didn't win. And if there's ever a guy I wish doesn't make it, never wins, it's him. I'm sorry, but it's him.
I understand. And he, look, I hate coming on here. I really do. Like, we love to rant about sports on here. It's a sports show, and sports are pretty black and white. Like, you either put up numbers or you don't. And when you're one of the big dogs in terms of salary on any team in any sport, I don't care if it's basketball, golf, whatever.
Yeah.
You better deliver on that.
Correct.
Especially when you're playing in a city where it's nigh impossible at times to be a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Like, I was in Lids the other day, and new Leaf hat, they're like $59.99 for a hat.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Hats.
That's why the salary cap is where it's at.
So, and that's a hat.
That's a hat. I agree. That's a hat.
Forget a jersey with 16 and Marner on the back. Forget.
I have a Marner jersey. I have a Marner jersey. I didn't buy it, but I have a Marner autographed Marner jersey. Yeah. How much could I get for that thing? Because I really want to just sell it. I'd like to recoup some of my lost money for going to game
$400 or $500
for going to game 5, and seeing them lose 6-1 or game. Yeah, was it game 5?
Yes,
It
was game 5.
Yeah, game 5. Lost 6-1, and they did in game 7. But I was at game 5. I'd like to recoup some of that money that I paid to go see that game. So if anyone wants to buy my Mitch Marner jersey, they'll have to give me like $400 though.
And that's a deal. Like, because he is a really good player, okay, but like, you got to take into account the fact that he's never won a major.
And award. I don't think I have the authenticity letter, so I don't know.
It's probably in the back of the picture. It's probably in the back of the frame. It's for sure.
No, it's a jersey.
I've seen. No, I know.
It's not a picture.
Oh, it's not framed. I know
it's not framed.
No. Clarkey's not joking. If you're a Marner fan and you want this jersey, like reach out.
Reach out. DM me.
He'll gladly sell it to you.
DM me
for a real good price.
Yeah. I think I need it out of my closet. That's for sure.
It's one of those things too, where you start to wonder just the way that this kind of, new ownership regime and front office has kind of presented itself to the people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that this would happen necessarily, but you do kind of wonder, and you almost wouldn't blame them if a guy like Keith Pelly said to John Chaika, you know what, that Darren Ferris guy, that rat son of a you-know-what, don't ever offer any of his clients a contract here because we don't protect them, okay? Now, I don't know how realistic that is.
Unrealistic, sadly, but...
It wouldn't surprise me. Like if I'm an NHL front office and I see this guy going on Puckpedia going, they didn't protect my guy that they gave $11 million to. And
what I would wish is every team ignored him. That's what I would wish.
Well, for God's sakes, man. And again, these guys, they work for the players. Okay. Like Darren Ferris didn't go on Puckpedia and just think this up on the spot.
No.
These are sentiments fed to him by his client.
Or his dad.
I want you to understand something too. Like, I don't condone some of the abuse that Mitch Marner and, despite his beliefs, many other Toronto Maple Leafs and athletes all over the world take from people on social media, death threats. And I understand all that stuff happens. I hate it. I think you're a bottom barrel loser. Yes, these guys are multimillionaires. We just talked about how unfair that is.
You got to remember
in
too,
respect
though,
to this. They're people.
Yes. And my argument too is you don't know who's at the other end of that. You don't know if that's a Montreal Canadian fan. Like you don't. You know what I'm saying?
That's a valid point. No,
you blame Leaf fans all the time, but at the end of the day,
Leaf
could be
fans
trollers, right?
People in the world.
It could be trollers, and
it could be trollers, but Leaf. I'm just sick of this narrative. I'm not even in the club, and I'm just tired of it. Oh, Leaf fans, they're so mean and this and that. Oh my God! Like,
you're not protecting them. Get a dog.
They will. Whoever it is, we've said this 100 times as we run out of time on the show.
He has a dog.
Appreciate everybody watching. He has a dog. Whoever it is, whichever group over maybe this next year, 10, 20, I don't know how long it's going to take them to finally break this curse. Whoever does it, do you understand that like they're going to name schools after like the fourth line left winger?
This guy had his number retired and probably on
the fourth line left winger of the Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup champion team. Whenever that happens, will never pay for a drink or anything in the city of Toronto again.
There's no doubt about that. But
dude, even the streets,
even if they didn't win, his number would have been retired if he played his whole career here, and he would have been on the what's the called outside there, the bench there,
the row of honor, Legends Row.
Legends Row. He would have been on Legends Row.
The row of honor. I quit this shit.
He would have been on Legends Row. He had it all done. It was all made. Now, he's a villain, and I hope forever. I really do.
It's how can you go back, right? Like it's like breaking up with somebody and trashing them online and then asking them out 6 months later. Like there's no going back.
And if there's ever I'd like to sign a 1 year or 1 day contract.
No,
entirely. Get lost.
I think that's dead.
It's got to be dead. That's not going to happen. Kyle Lowry is not happening with Mitch Marner. That's for sure.
It's a way. No, absolutely not. It is unfortunately. And at someday, Darren Ferris and Mitch are going to have to reconcile with the fact that, unfortunately, it's a situation of their making at the end of the day. Yeah. And again, that doesn't mean I condone any of the online abuse and this, that, and yeah.
He's up at his $20 million cottage right now in Muskoka enjoying life. So hopefully he's protected up there.
This is a bed you made. You played the games.
No doubt.
And you made these decisions. And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Choosing to be bitter about Schedule B bonuses when you make $11 million is, I'm sorry, a bridge too far for the average Joe that can't even get in the building and watch you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that, buddy. All right. Great show. Thanks to our buddy Paul Jones of the Raptors. You can follow him on social media and listen to him all season long when the Raptors get kicking here.
11 and a half.
Happens.
11 and a half. Vladdy. I'm taking the over.
Okay.
Tweet that out. So we have
11 and a half.
11 and a half from this day forward. July 30th. We're recording July 30th.
If he gets over 11
tomorrow at home against St. Louis. He hits one tomorrow at home. I'm telling you right now,
I'll feel nervous.
It's going to start. He could have 5 in a week.
We'll see. He could. We'll see if it happens. All right. Make sure you follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. Be sure to watch us on YouTube and Rogers TV. And of course, download us on all your favorite podcast apps. Thanks to our buddy Jonesy. We will see you next week for more Instigating with Clarkey and Drury. See ya.